I know I'm jumping on this trend a little bit late, and I've actually been wanting to do this video for a while now. I've had the materials to do it for months. I think I bought them after Christmas. So it's been a long time in coming. Net plopping. And if you don't know what that is, net plopping is something that was started a while back. I'm not sure how long ago, but it was started by a fellow YouTuber named Penny Tovar. She decided to try plopping with some sort of hairnet. A little while later, another YouTuber named Hi Felicia decided to try this with fishnets. And that's been kind of what a lot of people are doing now, is using the fishnets just because it gives you more room. I will link both of these YouTubers down below in case you want to check out their videos, their routines. Use whatever's best for you. If you have fishnets on hand, if you have a wig cap on hand, if you have just a typical hairnet on hand, use that, whatever works best. I today will be using fishnets just because that's what I have available to me, and I will link all of the products and such down in the description box below. What are the benefits of doing this? Well, net plopping is actually a really cool idea, and I really appreciate that Penny came up with this because it helps get your hair, the weight of it, up off of itself while it's drying, because as we all know, when it's wet, it stretches your curls out and it makes them less defined. So by getting it up into a plop, this helps them to dry more defined. But since it is a net as opposed to just a t-shirt or microfiber towel, you can actually get more airflow through that net, and it helps it to dry in this position. You can dry it this way. You can blow dry with your hair in a plop. Not only that, but as I've discussed before, getting your hair up and in a position that it's not normally going to sit in while drying it is going to help give you volume. So if we do this right, it should help give us definition and it should help give us volume. My biggest concern is just because my hair is so long, I'm worried that I won't be able to dry it all effectively in a net plop and that it's not really going to make much of a difference. Either that or the mids are going to be kind of wonky. But my biggest hope for this is, if you've seen my channel before, you know that I kind of struggle with curl definition at the root. For the first 2 or 3 inches, my hair is relatively straight. On a lucky day, it's a little bit wavy. So my hope is that by taking some of the weight off of my hair while I'm blow drying it and getting it up in a plop while I'm actually blow drying it, it will help give me some definition at the root and maybe a little bit more volume as well, which is always great. I'm going to hop into the shower, wash my hair so we can get started on this routine. Hello to all my wonderful wavies and my curly and coily coterie. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Lena and welcome to my bathroom. Let's get started. My hair is clean and it's detangled. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go in style. This part of the routine should be pretty normal as compared to what you typically do. There's no reason to do anything differently here. Let me go ahead and show you what products I'm going to use really quick. So the first one I'm going to use is one that I use pretty frequently. You've probably seen me use it before if you've seen any of my previous videos, and that is the As I Am Leave-In Conditioner. And then for curl cream, I'm going to go in with my Zoto's All About Curls Bouncy Cream. And then for my last product, for my hold product, I'm going in with my LA Looks Extreme Sport. Again, another favorite of mine, partially just because it's so available. You can find it just about everywhere. And then the other reason I like it is because it does have a very strong hold, and for this routine, we're going to need a strong hold. So I'm going to go ahead and style my hair like I normally do. I'm just gonna blaze through this. If you haven't seen my styling routine, check that out. And then I will hop back on to talk about the net plopping. Now I'm going to glaze a little bit of extra gel over my hair just because I really want to make sure I get as much hold as possible. Now we're moving on to the actual net plopping portion of this video. So you're going to take whatever you decided to use, whether that's your wig cap, your hairnet, or your fishnets. And we're going to try and get all of our hair into this. See how this goes. So the waistband of these is a little wide, so I'm actually going to just tie this back here. Now we can kind of settle this on top of our head. And I'm going to tie it off up top. I have my hair net plopped, and we're just going to treat this kind of like a normal plop for a while. We're just going to leave this in our hair for at least 15 minutes. just to let it air dry a little bit this way. At this point, it's really up to you. I've seen people do this in a variety of different ways. I've seen some people just air dry for 10 to 15 minutes. I've seen other people do it for 20 to 30 minutes. 1 or 2 people I've seen actually say that it works better the longer you leave it. So an hour plus even. I'm gonna kind of play it by ear. So my daughter is currently napping right now. I don't know how long she's gonna sleep for. I might have to extend my dry time out for a decent amount just because of that. I've been air drying my hair for a few hours now. I know it's been a long time. I just haven't had the time since my daughter woke up from her nap. She actually still isn't napping. She's just playing on the floor. So I want to show you really quick what I've been doing to kind of help keep my hair from going too flat. I kind of have just been periodically flipping my head over, kind of pulling up on this and kind of just adjusting it a little bit. That being said, I do actually want to pull this down and completely readjust it, since I probably will have to air dry for, again, another hour before I have the chance to actually do any diffusing. So I'm just gonna pull this down really gently. And this is a good chance too, once you pull it down, to kind of just evaluate, look and see what you think you might need. Are there any pieces that are looking a little scraggly? Maybe you can add some water to them. I'm actually gonna glaze a little bit more gel over my hair. It's still extremely wet, so this isn't really practical if you're going to 100% air dry. So I'm gonna glaze some gel over my hair, replop it, probably leave it that way for another hour. It's not really great for it to do this very often. In the future, I would probably be more likely to do this in the evening when my daughter is already down, or maybe just on a day when my husband's a little bit more available to help out. Because leaving it wet this long isn't great for it, but we do what we must. So again, I'm gonna glaze a little bit more gel over it, replop it, and then we're going to move on with our day. You can see this time around, it looks like it has a little bit more volume. And I do actually, after doing it the first time, really just kind of suggest tying it just by wrapping it around your hand and then doing just one loop through. It's going to come untied much easier, and when you do want to readjust, it gives you something to grab onto. So I'm gonna leave this in for a little bit longer, put my daughter down for a nap. And while she's down for a nap, I will hop back on and show you the rest of this routine. My daughter is finally down for her nap. I am actually going to readjust this one more time and show you a few tricks if you really want to make sure to get the most out of this. We're just gonna slip this off. And I did want to do this just one more time before I really started blow drying, just to help readjust it. But one thing I do want to do is just kind of go in and shuffle up the roots, especially in a lot of these spots. The roots are actually already drying a little bit. The rest of it's still pretty wet. And another thing you can do, if you're really concerned about volume, is you can root clip at this point. I'm gonna get this net plucked again, and then we're gonna start diffusing. I watched a lot of videos before doing this, and I know a lot of people, before they actually start blow drying, applied hairspray. I actually don't have any hairspray, but that is an option at this point. I've heard that hairspray can actually help to speed up your dry time. Now, just really quick, we're just hovering the blow dryer around our hair. You can do it with or without a diffuser. I've seen both ways. Without a diffuser, it's probably going to speed up the process a little bit, so that is an option. I probably will try both just to see what I like better. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So we're just gonna do a warm heat, and I'm going to just see how this goes. One last thing that's kind of nice about this is you can do a higher speed because your hair is contained. It's not gonna blow it around, so there is that. I've been blow drying for about 20 minutes. I did try with both the diffuser on and without it on. I will say without the diffuser, it's definitely going to dry your hair much quicker. I'm going to readjust again one more time before blow drying a little bit longer because I think my hair is still relatively wet. But let's go ahead and take this down really quick. So far, they're looking pretty juicy. They're actually not as damp as I thought they were gonna be. All right, I'm gonna diffuse it for just a little bit longer, and then we'll see where things stand. I've been blow drying my hair for probably about 30 to 40 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it down. I'm gonna say I'm done in this cap. We're gonna evaluate and see just how wet it still is. Yeah, it's definitely still damp, but it's probably about 60 to 70% of the way there. So I'm just gonna finish diffusing with my typical diffusing routine, and we'll see how it turns out. I blow dried my hair about 95% of the way. The last 5% I just air dried because I just don't have the patience typically to do 100% of the way. I have not broken my cast yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that really quick, and let's see how this turns out. So this is the final result. I've fluffed it out, and this is kind of what I got. I'm not mad at it. I think it turned out pretty good. There is a decent amount more volume than I'm used to kind of this way. There isn't really that much more definition than I'm used to. I think the definition is pretty normal for me, if not actually a little bit less. That being said, I think the reason for that is kind of on me. I left it in the plop for so long that I think it just took in too much moisture. If I feel it, it feels very soft. I'm probably in a little bit of moisture overload. So I just need to get some protein into it and maybe try this again in a time where I can actually dedicate to going through that entire process. That being said, I do kind of want to touch on that a little bit because I think that's the biggest downside of this, as funny as that is you would think that the fact that you can blow dry through your plop is a plus. For me, it took a lot longer than normal because my hair is so long that blow drying through the net did not get all of my hair. I actually ended up blow drying it for 40 minutes while it was up in the net, and then an additional like 15 minutes while it was down. So that's a lot longer than I'm used to blow drying my hair. That being said, I do have low porosity hair, so it does just take forever to dry anyway. I don't normally get to 95% dry. Typically when I do this process, when I blow dry my hair, I get to maybe 70% before I air dry. So I don't know if it's really that much different than normal, but it didn't really speed up that process. I know a lot of people have talked about using hairspray to help speed up their hair drying process. So I might try that. See if that works a little better next time. Again, see if I can dedicate more time to just this specific process to see if I do get more of that definition, because it was too long for my hair to be in that plop. Leaving my hair wet that long is really not good for it. It was one of those days. So for future reference, let's not do that again. Overall though, I am relatively happy with the way this turned out. I think it looks really good. If you didn't know what my hair normally looked like, it looks phenomenal. I do have a few wonky pieces here and there, but again, I don't think that's anything anybody else would notice. That's only something I would notice. There's maybe a little bit of frizz in some places, but that could also be just because I left it in plop so long and I took it out of the fishnets and put it back in so many times that it just agitated it a little bit. So, final thoughts. Definitely an interesting experiment. I definitely suggest giving this a try. I think for looser textures, this is definitely helpful. I know I've seen that several people do this, and that was kind of the general consensus, is this works a lot better on looser textures. If you have tighter textures, so like 3C plus, it might not make that big of a difference for you. That being said, I do think I will do this again. Once I've done a protein treatment, made sure that my hair isn't moisture overloaded anymore, I will give it another try. But overall, I think this worked really well. So there are a lot of different options, and hopefully I helped you kind of figure out if this is something you want to try or how to go about this in maybe a little bit of a different way. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. Or if you have any other further thoughts, things that you want to comment on, leave those down in the comments below as well. If you like content like this, styling curly hair, products to put in curly hair, like and subscribe for more like this in the future, and I will see you next time.